Hello everyone, I'm Yashaswini Ramaswamy and welcome back to an interesting episode of Unscripted. It's a new month, it's a new set and it's some fresh content. So let me walk you through what is in it for you today. In the Namma Bharat segment, we're going to be talking about Maharashtra. The segment after that is Entrepreneur's Corner. We have researched a lot and brought to you a very interesting company that deals with e-waste. After that, we're going to delve into women matters. We're going to be talking about Mithali Dorairaj's journey. We're going to delve into one of my favorites, which is Kitabi Kida. It's My Gita by Devdutt Pattanaik. We're going to be discussing about dining with the Kapoors, the food, the ambience, the love, and the fan following that Raj Kapoor still has. One of the most looked forward to events in India, which is about the Taj Mahal and which is happening in Uttar Pradesh. Why Maharashtra? Well, why not Maharashtra? So let me get you the context of Maharashtra and why it's exciting for us in Unscripted. To begin with, the population of Maharashtra is around 125 million. Now let me put that in context for you. If Maharashtra was actually a country, it will be the 12th most populous country in the world. So one state in India is actually a combination of a few countries. Our Maharashtra can actually be France and Portugal together, or Germany and Austria together. That is the size of it. As far as the contribution of Maharashtra goes to the overall GDP of our country, it contributes to 14% of the GDP of India. Now that's quite large. But what is the size of the contribution of Maharashtra? It's almost close to and exceeding about $500 billion. So a lot of wealth creation, a lot of enterprise, a lot of young population. If you look at the average age of Maharashtrian population, they average at a median of between 25 and 30. And that's relatively young. I know for India, it would be a little on the higher side because our median is a little lesser than 29. But if you look at the developed countries, the median age of a developed nation today is around 40, 41. So comparative to the global average, Maharashtra is still a very, very young state. Now, tidbits for you. Do you know the states that are younger than Maharashtra? There are two that come to my mind, Bihar and Uttar Pradesh. Maharashtra also has the Gateway of India. Now, Gateway of India is in Mumbai. Mumbai is the capital. Did you also know that Nagpur was the winter capital of Maharashtra? Nagpur, the same place where we get oranges. Yes, that was also a capital. And the British, when the British had their presidency, used to operate from these two capitals. Now, post-independence and Maharashtra has had its contribution to our freedom movement. Maharashtra as a state, the name of why it came to be known as Maharashtra does not have a lot of story behind it. We did try to do a lot of research. So in case any of you watching know how Maharashtra got its name, please feel free to share that with us. From the research that we have done, we've come to know that there was consensus to call it Maha, which means great, and Rashtra, which means nation. And given the rich heritage and history of empires and kingdoms that have actually come out of Maharashtra and ruling India, it was appropriate that they named it Maharashtra. So that's how it became Maharashtra. Now, let's talk about the Gateway of India. Very interesting. Gateway of India was actually commissioned by the then British rulers to actually commemorate King George V and his wife Queen Mary coming to India. As we know, India, the golden peacock at that time, held a very important place for the British Empire. A lot of our gold, a lot of our trade, a lot of our creative thought, enterprise and wealth was the bedrock and the edifice of how the British Empire actually grew. So not surprising that at that time, there was no air travel. We're talking about the 1900s. It used to take on an average about 40 to 45 days if you left London to come to India. And it was in their honor that the Gateway of India kind of got commissioned. Now the interesting bit is that when they arrived, there was no Gateway of India. Gateway of India actually got completed after they left a few years later. But as Indians, and particularly for me, it's been a fascinating piece of history, because when the British left, we won our independence in the 1947, and when the British actually left, the last of the troops were such a huge country where the British had their army. They even had a very large segment of the naval workforce. So the last of the British troops to signify, into a function, to signify that the Britishers have actually left. They left through the Gateway of India. So for historians and for students who are interested in history, it's very poetic, because their emperor came signifying their rule over India through the Gateway of India, but then they also left through the same Gateway of India. So I'm sure a lot of you viewing this would have visited there, but if you haven't, I would highly recommend you to go and view the architecture, because it's very non-Indian, non-Mughal, the type of historic monuments that were built around that time. It has quite a bit of the Western influence in the way it's been built, and look at it through the prism of our independence. Now, unfortunately, in the recent times, it was also the gateway for terrorism. We had multiple attacks on Mumbai. It unfortunately paved way for terrorists to come in. So if you happen to go visit there now, it's of course an entry point where the ferries start for you to go and visit the Elephanta rocks. It's of course a point now for you to go and visit Elephanta caves. Let me take you into the world of theatre. Pune, Bombay, Prithviraj, these are all synonyms for theatre. And Maharashtra has the largest number of plays and dramas. It's actually the epicenter, and it's so heartening to see a thriving community of theatre fans that's still vibrant in Maharashtra. In spite of the OTTs and in spite of the technology, it's heartening to see so much of hard work, so much of an effort that people actually give to storytelling. It's still the aspiration for a lot of people. I think Mumbai attracts the highest number of migrants from across India, and also a lot of foreign talent that wants to come to Mumbai and make it in Bollywood. Bollywood, I think, is how India is known the moment you step out of India. In fact, I was talking to one of the music creators, and he was telling me that he finds it difficult to talk about India and its various forms of music, because the moment he steps out of the country, the only question he's asked is, do you do Bollywood music? And Bollywood is just not a stereotype of one. Bollywood has so many micro-cultures around it. And let me walk you through the history of Bollywood. So Bollywood, this was before we won independence also. acting as a career was not something that is so acceptable like today. Actually, when we were growing up, we had heard of a lot of family stories of fights where the daughter wanted to get into films and the parents thought it's beneath them and it's not a very dignified profession. From there to now, where being an actor in Bollywood has become one of the most sought after, if not the most sought after job, I think that transformation is exciting. A little bit about Bollywood from an industry context. So if you look at the Indian film industry, this is putting Telugu film industry, Kerala, our own Kannada film industry, we have the Bhojpuri film industry. So, again, India is just not Bollywood. But if I take the whole Indian film industry together, I think we would be somewhere around 30,000 crores as annual revenue that's generated out of this industry. And Bollywood contributes to more than 40 to 45% of it. So a healthy somewhere around 12,000 to 15,000 crores is what it brings to it. And as an industry, it actually employs close to 3 million people. Now, these can be script writers, technicians, artists. So I know we talk about Deepika Padukone, Ranveer, Shah Rukh Khan, and now Akshay Khanna with his comeback in Dhurandhar. But if you look at Bollywood, I know there are some highlights, but it really employs 3 million people. Stuntmen, a lot of people behind the camera who actually make this industry what it is. And as far as the number of films are concerned, on an average, according to our research, we know that every year Bollywood actually churns out close to about 200 films, and that's a lot. So if you look at the global ranking of Bollywood, we actually are ranked number 1. We are the highest number of films that churns out by any wood, Tollywood, Hollywood, Bollywood, where we can track close to 200 movies getting released every year. If you look at it in terms of scale, it can actually equal to the economy of one of the countries. People ask me what I think about Bollywood and how I would like to define it. For me, Bollywood is just not an entertainment industry. It's actually a cultural export machine, and thank God for it, because if you're going to talk about the superpower that India enjoys, a lot of it is the explosion of the Bollywood movies that continue to influence. I mean, there were days, of course, when Raj Kapoor and Nargis were celebrated in Russia. If you get time, just Google and you will get these wonderful videos where fans were crazy about them. So, Bollywood has its own charm. A lot of it cannot be explained in words. It's an experience to be lived, and I think it's just going to grow, and it's so exciting to see the OTT platforms also now exploding, and the kind of creative talent that's available in Mumbai. So if you talk about the creative talent capital of India, that would undoubtedly be Mumbai. And a lot of that action is because of the theatre foundation, which is so strong. Go and spend some time in the favorite play. If you happen to go to Mumbai, there are so many places, and I think you'll have a wonderful time. Now, zooming back to Maharashtra as a state, it's home to a lot of empires. So let me walk you through the chronology of what is it that we know of. During the ancient period, the human settlement in Maharashtra actually dates back to the Iron Age. It's also been ruled by very prominent dynasties like the Shatavahanas, the Vakatakas, the Rashtrakutas, and of course the Chalukyas. I know we talk a lot about the Ajanta and the Ellora caves, and rightly so. It's actually a UNESCO heritage site, and it represents the early religious, artistic and architectural excellence that India had. Now Maharashtra is probably the only state in India that houses 7 UNESCO heritage sites. Yes, you've heard that right, 7. And we'll walk through some of them in the description below that you get on the video. But it's a fascinating state if you zoom out. I know the reference is Bollywood, but actually Maharashtra has so much to offer beyond that. In the medieval period, we have the emergence of the Deccan Sultanate and the rise of the Maratha Empire under Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. And I think the Maratha Empire has captured our imagination today, and it's really deserving the rightful place in public discourse. There was a time when we didn't know much about the Maratha Empire, but thanks to Bollywood really stepping in, the just released Chhawa, which talks about Sambhaji Maharaj, the son of Shivaji Maharaj, and Aurangabad, which is the place that got named after Aurangzeb, has now been renamed as Sambhaji Nagar. So a lot of interesting tidbits that came out of the movie Chhawa and really helped people take notice not only in India but at a global stage. And then of course the movies around Shivaji Maharaj himself, his bravery, how he inspired devotion he had towards Durga Ma. I think what you learn out of studying these kings and dynasties is a very Indian outlook to what is center stage to our culture. If you look at these dynasties, the kind of vision the kings had, it was not about power for the sake of it. It was not aggression because they wanted to rule the world. It was not about greed, lust. You would actually see very intricate designs on strategy about sustainable development. In fact, Shivaji is credited for having one of the most efficient naval power in India around that time. And the whole concept of development was around sustainability, the women employment, the way agriculture kind of took forth. So you would actually see a very responsible type of a leadership that Maharashtra has kind of housed in its state. It also has a lot of forts. My favorite fort is the Harihar Fort. Almost impossible to climb, I know. Have I climbed it? Not yet. Do I intend to? Yes. Of course, the famous one is the Raigad Fort, and these clusters of forts that you can actually see that got built during the Maratha Empire. Let me walk you through a very fascinating story of the Bombay Stock Exchange. Did you know it started way back in 1875, much before we won independence, under a banyan tree where a few people came together and probably started doing trades, to now where the market capitalization is exceeding $5 trillion. It actually lists more than 5,000 companies. I think the dream of any entrepreneur is to get listed on the Bombay Stock Exchange and ring that bell. It just brings out so many emotions. And the Bombay Stock Exchange actually is one of the oldest, and it's housed on the Dalal Street. And if you look at the reforms if you look at the history and study the Bombay Stock Exchange, you'll actually get eyes into the reforms that India itself had. Now in the 1990s, we got ushered into the era of liberalization, where our then finance minister, Manmohan Singh, and the Prime Minister was Narasimha Rao. They actually passed a lot of legislation for us to really open up the economy. And if you look and study the history of the Bombay Stock Exchange, you would see those in parallel. And the amount of risks and the amount of the entrepreneurial spirit that the Bombay Stock Exchange houses is fantastic. A lot of you would have seen the movie The Wolf of Wall Street. The Indian version of The Wolf of Wall Street is the Bombay Stock Exchange. So if you want to trade, you're familiar with terms of the bull and the bear, this is where it all happens, and this is where the magic happens. We also see that in the modern period, Maharashtra, and particularly pockets of Nagpur, Pune and Mumbai, got a lot of prominence around the economy and theatre and creativity under the British rule. And it also became the base for a strong military organization, simply because as a state, it has its neighboring states such as Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Telangana, Karnataka, Goa. There is quite a big coastline that Maharashtra also enjoys. So it's actually perfect for any state to kind of build its defense around Navy, the Army and the Air Force. And probably that's why it housed so many kings that we still continue to be inspired by. Talking about the literacy rate, I think Maharashtra averages north of 87%. That's one of the highest averages of literacy that Maharashtra has. So you have a very amazing potential in the state, which undoubtedly has enjoyed a rich culture heritage. But looking at the average median age, which I shared with you was about 29 to 30, and looking at the literacy rates and looking at the heavy investments that's coming into this state in terms of transport and infrastructure, I think this is a state that promises a lot of growth and development with character that India can be very proud of. Talking about infrastructure, one of my favorite ministers in the union government today, Nitin Gadkari, he's also a Maharashtrian, and I'm personally inspired by the way he conducts himself. I don't know whether you've tuned into Farah Khan's latest episode with her favorite cook Dilip, but she actually visits the minister's house, and it's fascinating to see his love for food, his passion for development, his outlook to always be inclusive, and the amount of hard work and dedication that he puts in. So do watch that episode, because we do cover food, but more than that, we cover the personality and the person behind the ministership. And I think for me, he quintessentially denotes what a Maharashtrian is: a very warm-hearted, welcoming person, which just makes you so comfortable, and with a bank of knowledge and wisdom that you can really count on. So that's Nitin Gadkari for you. And of course, the current Chief Minister, Fadnavis, and Maharashtra has also, I think it is there in the blood with the kings and the kingdoms and the ruling DNA that comes along with it. I think Maharashtra has also seen its political wars. We will of course shoot an episode sometime on the culture of politics and the culture of how India has actually stayed democratic, and in spite of the complexity and challenges, we are the world's largest democracy. We will be covering it because a lot of it is the cultural fabric of our country. But the political heritage that Maharashtra has, whether it's Sharad Pawar, is again somebody who grew in the imagination of Indians and has done a lot for the state. His daughter, of course, Supriya Sule, somebody who's even known today to be one of the most welcoming members of parliament. Or Bala Sahab Thackeray, who can forget him? And there are many movies that is being made about him. The stand that he took, which was very aggressive at that time, and the hero worship that happens. And being a cricket fan myself, the incident that's remained to me is the stand that he took during cricket, and he had his followers also dig up a pitch, I think, which kind of cancelled the cricket and the politics of the sports also. So very interesting personalities that Maharashtra has given born to in terms of politics. Each leader very original, very different, passionate about the ideology that they want to follow, and the loyal base of voters and citizens that they have makes Maharashtra very, very unique and something that's very interesting. I don't think one episode or one segment can do justice to a state like Maharashtra, but my advice would be, go beyond the stereotypes. Maharashtra is so much more than Bollywood. Spend some time, travel around the state. Their food is amazing. The people are amazing and warm, and you will see a common cultural fabric of enterprise. I think the whole state, given that they've been through so many wars and challenges to kind of bounce back, you see a very strong resilience in the people. They're very welcoming, and I hope you have a lot of fun exploring Maharashtra. I'd like to leave you with symbols of Maharashtra, and let's take a quick look of how much we know about our own Indian state. Now, can you guess what the state animal of Maharashtra is? It's actually the Indian giant squirrel. If you talk about the state bird, let's not confuse it with the national bird. Our national bird is the peacock, the one that you see on my set here. But the bird of the Maharashtra state is actually the yellow-footed green pigeon. Now, when I first read about this, I thought pigeons were always grey. I could never associate the colors of yellow and green, but it's a fascinating bird, and there's some beautiful pictures on it. If you're interested to capture photos of birds, I think this is such a rare kind of a subspecies of the pigeons. The state fish is the silver pomfret. The state butterfly is the blue mormon. The state flower is the jarul. And the state tree is one of my favorites. It's the mango tree. Now, how can you be an Indian and not like mangoes? So that's a wrap on Maharashtra. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've learned something, and I hope you share it with your friends. In the next segment, we're going to be talking about a very enterprising, new thought, innovation in the segment of e-waste, which is electronic waste. Keep watching. Welcome to Entrepreneur's Corner, and it's a short segment, but a segment that's becoming more and more important in the days ahead. This segment talks about electronic waste. Now, there's a bit of confusion on what actually constitutes electronic waste, and is electronic waste really an issue that we have to be concerned about? So let me just, I did a quick digging about this. So let me just share with you what I found. Now, the definition of e-waste is, e-waste includes discarded, broken or end-of-life electrical or electronic devices that operate using electricity or batteries. Now, what can this be? This can be your mobile phones, it can be your laptops, it can be your computers, your television sets, your printers, your chargers, your batteries, accessories, almost anything. And with the amount of churn that we're seeing in the mobile industry alone, I mean, how many phones have we changed? I remember, I'm not going to give off my age, but I was definitely born at an age where the word internet did not exist in the dictionary. We hadn't yet invented that word, let alone other words like email and World Wide Web, and now artificial intelligence. So I think my generation that way is blessed, because we grew up with ponds, rivers, waters, where our mothers would say, go, and we would just happily go play back with mud, water, climb trees, come back home. We really didn't bother about a lot of technology. And it's in my first job that I encountered Nokia. as a phone, and we were so excited that it almost became a kind of a show-off thing, saying I have a mobile phone. And today, oh my God, we've transitioned into electronic payments, where you buy a plate of a masala puri or a chaat, you can pay through phone. So that's the leap that we've had. And if technology and electronics has entered into our daily life in such an invasive way, just imagine the amount of waste that we're creating. And this kind of waste is actually toxic, because how do you dispose it? Where do you dispose it? There are animals that are affected by it. There is, if you look at electronic waste, while there's been some movement in the urban areas where apartments are quite dense about wet waste and dry waste, and I think there's been a lot of education around it, but electronic waste and how do we dispose it still remains an issue that I think we should get a little bit more aware of. One, I think, is the whole consumerism that is underlying it. Everybody wants the latest and everybody wants it now. And almost nobody cares about reusing it. And it's not their fault. I mean, the moment you start updating software on your phone, you're actually forced to update to a new instrument, because the apps and the space that mobiles used to originally accommodate, it doesn't allow you if you have to keep pace with the way the world is changing. So somewhere, I think the whole industry of electronics is also forcing rapid consumption and rapid replacement, which, if you look at the charts of the growth of electronic waste accumulation, it would beat any stock exchange metrics or index that you would see. Now, the waste that I'm speaking about actually has two components to it. One are the valuable materials that you collect out of them, and the other one is the hazardous substances that we have to be very careful about, and actually careful about how we dispose them. Now, waste is also treasure, right? And the valuable materials that you actually get out of electronic waste is gold, silver, copper, aluminium, and different kinds of plastics. If there are tons of waste, and if you want some gold, you can set up a processing plant. Well, the percentages is not very high, but don't be surprised that what you're holding in your hand will also have some gold and silver in it. Now, coming to the hazardous materials, and we, I think, need, as a country which is so rapid on consumption and waste, we need some very clear policies and guidelines and regulation around disposing of this waste. But the hazardous material that this is giving rise to are lead, mercury, various other stuff, which is actually very dangerous to the environment, because if you bury them, the soil can get polluted. If you burn them, there are some toxic air that you create. So how do you actually dispose electronic waste, I think, is a matter that still needs a lot of debate, discussion, and a whole lot of research, which is why the entrepreneur that we're covering on e-waste is so refreshing, because he thought of things in a very radical way. His business is actually processing about 25 metric tons of electronic waste. Now that's a huge number, and we'll know about this entrepreneur shortly. Now, 25 metric tons that I mentioned to you is not per month or per annum, it's daily. That's the amount of waste that this entrepreneur handles. His name is Rajkumar. Now, I'm a Kannadiga, I'm from Bangalore. If you say Rajkumar, for us, there is only one Rajkumar, our hero, our evergreen hero of the Kannada film industry. And this entrepreneur, whose name is also Rajkumar, has had a very similar story. He's from Haryana, And he, if you actually read through his journey, he didn't give up, because today he's built an infrastructure around it. A lot of entrepreneurs have ideas, they have a lot of big ideas, but then reality hits when you have to execute on that big idea. And especially in an area like electronic waste, which is not very organized as a sector, where information is scarce, where people who are generating the waste themselves are not aware of it. I think it's taken a whole lot of resilience, tenacity, and an attitude to never give up for Rajkumar to reach where he has today. To come from a state like Haryana, to set up Deshwal Waste, which is the name of his company, go Google it, to actually be running India's largest e-waste company, that's a story in itself. So huge congratulations to Rajkumar, and may you have more power to be doing this. And for those entrepreneurs who still are figuring out an idea on what to work on, e-waste is an exciting opportunity at its nascent stage, not yet a full-fledged industry. So if you're innovative, you can think out of the box, work on an e-waste startup idea. A huge lot of potential in that space. Like they say, yet another edition of Women Matters, and this is like the flavor of the season, and I'm very excited to bring to you the story of Mithali Dorairaj. Now, she was born in December, and I think December the 3rd, 1982, in Jodhpur, Rajasthan. Her parents are Dorairaj and Leela Raj, and I'm sure nobody could have guessed the history that she's going to make and the trajectory that she had during this. I'm going to walk you through little known facts and actually talk to you about the life journey that she has had. Now, we may know of the awards and we may know of the public persona, but I thought it was very interesting for us to actually know the person behind it. And like somebody said, in cricket, you know, everybody has an opinion, and if you're tuned into a match, you will hear statements almost every second saying they should have hit like this, they should have bowled like that, they should have caught like this. We're such a bunch of passionate cricket lovers. I'm sure she would have got her share as well. So let me just walk you through her journey. Her journey didn't actually begin with a lot of ambition. It actually began with a lot of routine. Now, she comes from a defense family, an Air Force family. So the kind of upbringing that she would have had, like we can imagine, would be one of discipline, one of routine, one of rules, one of regulations, and actually finding your foot in situations which are changing and which have a lot of uncertainty. And I think that really helped her form her value system, because values are typically imbibed at very early stages, and I think her upbringing has had a very huge role to play. She was actually introduced to cricket by her father, Mr. Dorairaj, and primarily to instill punctuality and curb her habit of sleeping late. Like any of us, I'm sure, she was sleeping late, and I think it was like every parent finds a solution. I don't think Dorairaj knew at that time that this would turn out to be one of the most important chapters of her life. Her talent was actually noticed by a coach called Jyoti Prasad, and Jyoti Prasad was actually instrumental in recommending her forward. She used to accompany her brother to practice sessions at the John's Cricket Academy in Secunderabad, where her talent first got noticed. So very humble beginnings to what a story would finally emerge. She was actually selected for the Andhra state team when she was only about 13 years, after excelling under 16 and under 19 levels. She trained under late coach Sampath Kumar, who actually had a huge role to play in refining her technique and temperament. Now, unfortunately for Mithali, when her coach Sampath passed away, it did pose, I think, a lot of challenges for her on the temperament side, because just imagine your 14 years, your teenage years, and the person whom you trusted the most, you were depending on to coach you, to refine your techniques. There's a lot of trust between a coach and an athlete, and the person you kind of idealize passes away at such an early stage. I'm sure it would have had its impact on Mithali. And a lot of people that we have spoken to and then we have researched have also said that there was a change in her temperament. She almost started internalizing a lot. And I think a lot of the resilience and the tenacity, because as a leader, your journey is almost always going to be a lonely one. You will have to take those decisions, you will have to internalize the chaos, and your team almost always looks up to you for all solutions all the time. And if you end up looking chaotic and stressed and this thing, that's just going to multiply to the team. And I think she was so talented that she imbibed these very life rich experiences early on. The interesting part about Mithali, and something that took me back to my childhood days, was her practice of Bharatanatyam. And she's a trained Bharatanatyam dancer. It's actually helped her with balance and the rhythmic footwork that you need to play while playing cricket. Interesting correlation where Bharatanatyam has so for those of you who want to really enjoy cricket, male or female, try and attempt to go to a few Bharatanatyam classes. Don't know, maybe it'll help you. She made her debut in the one-day format in 1999 against Ireland, where she scored an unbeaten 114, and she was only 16 at that time. She instantly became the backbone of the Indian batting lineup. I think what's interesting about her is the fact that she also refused to take on captaincy. Very few professionals and very few leaders that we see, when an opportunity is given, we're almost trained in our mind to say yes and move on. Very few people have the courage and the clarity to actually say no, and Mithali is one of that. She rejected captaincy very early on in her career, and she said she wanted some more time to learn from her seniors, and that actually won her a lot of respect. So here is a person who knew she was preparing herself for a role that is larger than just being a batsman or a bowler of a team and actually leading the team, but she had the courage and the patience and the wisdom to do it her way. She led India to their first women's ODI World Cup final in 2005, and she actually scored an unbeaten 91 in the semi-final. She remains the only Indian captain, men or women, to lead the team to 2 women's ODI World Cup finals. And these finals were in 2005 and 2017. Heartbreaking that we didn't become champions at that time. But if you look at Mithali Raj's contribution, she was the most consistent player and a player that the rest of the team trusted. In fact, she's given credit to take women's cricket from what seemed to be a kind of a semi-amateurish, a few professionals who are spread around, to actually a serious sport which now enjoys a loyal following, and it has fans and people are turning up to watch women's cricket. There was a point in time where they used to play cricket to empty stadiums, and that's no longer the case, and a large part of it is thanks to Mithali. She is also the first woman to surpass 6,000 runs in women's ODIs. She has played 200 ODIs, becoming the first woman cricketer to reach that milestone. She retired from the T20 internationals in 2019, and when she retired, she was India's highest run scorer in that format. She's completed 2 decades of ODI cricket in 2019, a very rare achievement in international sport. Mithali actually inspired the next generation of cricketers, players like Smriti Mandhana or Harmanpreet Kaur, our current captain, who actually got home the World Cup, Julian Goswami, and even Veda Krishnamurthy. I think what was heartening about us winning the Women's World Cup this time is how Harmanpreet actually dedicated this win to Mithali. It spoke volumes about the camaraderie, about the respect and the trust that the women cricket shares and embodies. I think they're a great example for sportsmen and professionals all around the world. If you just lay your eyes on the list of awards that she has won, one word that would come to my mind is just respect. So let me just share with you that list. She won in 2003 the Arjuna Award, the Padma Shri in 2015, the Wisden Indian Cricketer of the Year 2015, and she was the first woman recipient for this award. The Vogue Sportsman of the Year in 2017, the BBC 100 Women in 2017 again, and the Major Dhyan Chand Khel Ratna Award in 2021. And again, she was the first female cricketer to receive India's highest sporting honour. Now, oftentimes when we come across the first recipient or the only recipient, or somebody who's breaking stereotype, the backstory of such success and growth is often not as glamorous or not as pink and hunky-dory as we see. I think with Mithali, we see a woman who has pursued her passion unapologetically, and it's come with a lot of sacrifices that she herself in a lot of her interviews has spoken about. The ongoing nagging knee injuries, the wear and tear of the body, and what stood out for me was the dignity in which she handled the societal pressure, especially for a woman, and that too in India. After a certain age, the pressure builds on you to get married, and the word that they use is settle down. Now, it's debatable because a lot of us end up asking the question, is marriage actually settling down, or does it start a new series of unsettling moments? But for her, the public figure that she is, the societal pressure that she faced, for her to handle that with dignity and come out of it becoming an inspiration for so many young women cricketers that still follow her, I think is a classic example. Our esteemed regards to her parents, who have, I think, been with her through this journey. Such a motivating, captivating, inspiring story. And I hope that Mithali Raj as a story continues to inspire generations to come. In the Kitabi Kida segment this time, very happy to bring to you and to discuss with you Devdutt's My Gita. Now, My Gita is a little later of his work. I got interested in his work by reading Jaya. That is a book on Mahabharata, and as a lot of us know, it was originally called Jaya. And his perspectives and his take on Jaya and the decisions and the complications and the vulnerabilities of the character, I found that fascinating. So when My Gita actually came out, I think I was one of the first to go and buy it, and I was so inspired to read through it. Now, what's refreshing about the book is that, first of all, it's a short one. So if you're on your way to catch a flight and you find a bookshop, it's a short read. It's a short read because I think with subjects and topics like the Gita, the more you evolve in life, your understanding, I think, changes. So the Gita is is timeless. It will always remain. But our relation and our perspectives on life, as and when we gain more experience, our understanding of the same phrases kind of evolves. And that's the beauty of a timeless classic like the Gita. What he's done is to take it a little away from religion, a little away from tradition. The anchor points are the same. It's Arjuna facing a dilemma to go to war against his family and kill a person like Bhishma, whom they have idealized when they've grown up, his guru Dronacharya. So just imagine you are at that battlefield, and what you see in front of you are your family members who've only shown you love, who've given you a very safe environment to grow up. Because Arjuna's father, the king Pandu, he passed away when they were just children, and his mother Kunti actually came back to the palace and then started the Duryodhana versus Pandavas, but that's something else. But just imagine from a mindset of Arjuna, a young kid going back to a huge palace without a father figure, and he grows up with so many father figures who've shown him love, trust, and who've actually taught him the Kshatriya skills, the techniques, the way of life. And now you are in a situation where if you pick up that bow and arrow and if you declare war, the consequence of that would have to kill these very people that you've admired. Now, it's a classic situation of moral dilemma. What should you do? Because if you kill, it's wrong. If you don't kill, it's wrong. So how do you gain clarity in this dilemma? What are some of those structured thoughts that help you take these decisions? And that's where Lord Krishna comes in with Gita. And what Devdutt has done is to actually segment it. He doesn't make it very preachy. It's not about what you want to believe or what should you believe. I think the Gita or my Gita surrounds itself into why should you believe what you're believing, right? So it kind of asks very pertinent questions as to why. It forces you to think beyond the obvious. It's not because somebody said so that I'm doing it. Because a lot of times when we live our life behind a charade of excuses. That's how we live our life. I became an engineer, I got married, I have a couple of children because the society wanted it, my parents wanted it. But look, it's your life at the end of the day. And every decision that you take has a consequence. Every decision you don't take also has a consequence. And that's beautifully articulated, because at the end of the day, you are responsible for your life. You are responsible and accountable, and you have to own the consequences of your actions and inactions. And this gets illustrated very beautifully. There is a saying in Hindi saying, Karm kar, phal ki ichha mat kar, which in Sanskrit is a two-word, but just the first line is Karmanye vadhikarasye ma phaleshu kadachana, which I think sums it up beautifully, because sometimes we get frustrated because our expectations are so high. We believe we live in a linear world where good hard work should amount to success, and sometimes good hard sincere work does not amount to success. Now the reasons can be many. Should we get frustrated? Should we get disappointed? Should we lose hope? Or should we anchor ourselves into something deeper, something more spiritual, something that gives us energy, and live our lives with purpose? And that's what my Gita attempts to do. It's not preaching, but it really helps you ask relevant questions. So enjoy your reading with Devdutt. From Gita, we move to food, one of the other quintessential aspects of life. Now, I was skeptical a little bit. I thought it's going to be a more of a look at me, look at us, this is who we are. I mean, they are the first family of Bollywood, so you do expect a little bit of entitlement from all of them. But I think what was refreshing was the whole setting. The way the family kind of came together, a lot of faces that were introduced to us for the first time, a lot of names who are not as famous as a Kareena Kapoor or as Karishma Kapoor or even Ranbir Kapoor. And we saw the diversity of the family. For a layperson like me who's not very much into movies, I was under the impression that every Kapoor is into movies. Now that's not so. A lot of them are into theatre, cooking, restaurants, different businesses, and of course acting. What stayed with me was the warmth in which they remembered Raj Kapoor. In the latter part of the episode, you actually have Ranbir Kapoor and his sister Ridhima Kapoor walk down and walk through the bungalow, because as you know, it was a heritage. Now for me, I don't know why they brought the house, why they demolished it. Unfortunate part of Bollywood history lost. But you see the house for the last time through their eyes. The pictures, the fights of Raj Kapoor, the famous parties that he hosted, the Holi, which is Holi and not Holy. Holi is a festival in India that we celebrate, and during Holi, the whole of Bollywood used to come. So we see pictures of a very young Vinod Khanna trying to impress, Amitabh Bachchan coming and staying, and the memories of what Bollywood was, which was less of an industry, more of passionate people enjoying life. And to walk through that memory actually helps us walk through the journey of Bollywood itself. And food is central to it. What's heartening is that they have still retained the recipes. Actually Karishma Kapoor opens a book which is handwritten and shares it with her cousin, where there are recipes which have been there since generations, and how everybody sits around the table, enjoys it, they're pulling each other's leg, and I think they're all trained to face cameras. So there is a bit of spontaneity that is missing, because I think they're aware that the cameras are always recording them. But nonetheless, this is a very refreshing, original inside view of what a Kapoor family looks like. And I just loved their line of saying, if you want to make anything tasty, Dadi always used to put a dollop of ghee on top of that. So watch it, because you will see a family enjoying pasta with a dollop of ghee. What's the scene? Our last segment, and almost always our most interesting one. In this segment, we share with you everything about the Taj Mahotsav, or as some people like to say, Taj Mahotsav. This happens annually in, I think, around February, and this year I think it's in the second or the third week of it. Go look it up. But it's a fascinating get-together, a melting pot of a lot of micro-cultures that actually define India for what it is. It's supposed to be the largest get-together of India's handicrafts. It has a lot of performances, all states are represented, and I'm sure the footfall is going to be in millions. Now for Uttar Pradesh, something like this fits into the very fabric of what the state represents. The last time Uttar Pradesh took up something like this on this scale was the Mahakumbh, and that was a scale of different proportions, and we will cover it in a separate episode. But coming back to Taj Mahotsav, I think it's important because very rarely do we see festivals merging with a UNESCO heritage site. So just visualize, just imagine you have the beautiful Taj at the backdrop and you have this stalls and people and celebrations from different states, textiles, handicrafts, souvenirs, everything that represents India. It's a much awaited must visit. Don't miss the Taj Mahotsav. With this, it's a wrap. I really have enjoyed hosting Unscripted for you. I hope you were able to travel the journey of India with me, right from Maharashtra onwards to ending with the Taj Mahotsav. Like Rabindranath Tagore said, where minds are without fear, the head is held high. And that's the essence we wanted to carry in this episode. If you're interested to contribute to our stories and if you want to become a culture journalist, a #CJ, just write to us at hello@culturecalls.in. See you next time.